My 47M stepdad told my 44F mother that he wanted an open marriage because of her haircut. I, 19F, am not sure if I'm overstepping a boundary by sharing this story, but I'm moving out in a week and think this is ridiculous. My 44F mom and 47M stepdad have been married for 14 years. As far as I can remember, this guy has been in my life and I love him like I love my biological father. And they have had what looks to be a happy marriage. In the last year, my mom has started working overnights at a vet office. This causes her and my stepdad's schedule to not align. This also causes her to make more money than him. My mom has also struggled with her appearance in the last few years. She was on a strict keto diet, like my stepdad, for over a year and stopped when it began to make her feel more bad than good. This caused her to rapidly change weight and she's quite insecure about it. Me and her have a very close relationship and she has confided in me several times about her problems and other moments when it was clear to me that my stepdad was insecure about something. But I ain't a therapist, so my usual response is that she seek therapy because I am not equipped to be her daughter and her couple's therapist. Love her so much though. Today, she told me she was going to get a haircut with my sister 14F. The previous week she had been talking with me about getting her haircut short so it's out of her face at work, and I showed a picture of this shorter 60s style pixie cut that I thought would be so cute on her. When she got back from her appointment, she was glowing. She was wearing her cute little cat eye-shaped glasses and I convinced her to put on a collared polka dot dress to complete the look. My sister kept making fun of her hair, but as long as she liked it I was happy for her. When my stepdad came home from the gym, he could not even look at her. I could tell this was making her sad. I made a joke about how it's like when he shaves himself a mustache and she hates it but deals with it anyway. There wasn't a whole lot of laughing in the crowd, so I walked upstairs to do my own thing and ended up out of the house for a couple hours. When I came back I could hear them arguing in their bedroom. I couldn't really make out what they were saying and chose to ignore it. Shortly after my mom came into my room, she sat down on my bed and told me that she had been up for a while. She told me they started arguing about her haircut. He kept telling her how ugly it looked, how ugly she was, how she was never going to have sex again with hair like that. This is all her exact retelling of the story. I was literally just sitting there, mouth open, thinking about how fucking crazy this was to ever come out of my stepdad's mouth. And then she hit me with he said he wanted to open our marriage. I may be 19 and have little relationship experience, but even I know that's basically admitting that you want to cheat on your wife. She started crying and I did not know what to say. Shortly after she got up and left the room. The only thing I said to her that whole time was, I cannot wrap my head around how ridiculous this is. And I still can't. Not only do I feel horrible because I've been put in this odd situation between my mom and stepdad, whom I both love. I also feel horrible because if I was married to someone and they said some shit like this to me, I feel so horrible about myself. I want to help her if I can because I care about her, but I'm afraid I'm getting myself into something that I should not and cannot be a part of. And what's worse is that I'm moving 7 hours away in a week, so there's not a lot I can do. What should my mom do? Edit. I am in therapy myself and have talked about this with my own therapist. I think your mom should open the marriage with the help of a divorce lawyer. She deserves much better than an insecure prick. You can feel in the middle when two people you love argue, but when one person is abusive, you're too ugly to have sex, is not a normal reaction. He meant to hurt her. You need to take sides, because if you stay neutral, it will appear as if you don't disagree, which will dishearten the victim and empower the abuser. He wants to fuck someone else. The marriage is over. He wants to open the marriage, so he doesn't have to sort out his living situation and pay his bills and do his own housework. But I would not agree with that. Wanting out is his prerogative. Hurting your mom is not. At this moment I would only support your mom. But I would reconsider your relationship with your stepdad. His words and actions are horrible. Wow, what a messy situation to be in for you. 1. You can do nothing. As much as it hurts, you have to stay out of it for them to figure out. You just hug your mom after. 2. I am betting there is a ton going on behind closed doors that you don't know about. 3. As your mom seems to be struggling, she should talk to a therapist. 4. If they have any chance of salvaging anything, therapy is a must. I hope there is some festering shit you don't know about. They blew up and he said some shit he didn't mean, but that's just trying to be an optimist. I remember about 55 years ago, before I even had kids, I was in my early 20s and I went to get my haircut. The hairdresser literally butchered me. I was so angry I refused to pay her. When I got home my husband was mortified, but to his credit he tried not to insult me. Of course I told him how much I hated this haircut. Then a month later I found out I was pregnant with twins. By the time they were born my hair, which usually grew fast, was all grown out. However, if he had dared to criticize me in any way, all hell would have broke loose. I simply wouldn't allow it. Incredibly shallow of your stepdad. Awful how he can love her one day when she meets his beauty standards and not care about her another day when she cuts her hair short. Really makes you think about what kind of a guy he is, doesn't it? Perhaps your mum should call a helpline though instead of putting this on you. I 22F broke up with my 20M boyfriend after finding out he wanted me jumped. Is this nuts? Me and my boyfriend had been dating for about 13 months. We had major conflict in the relationship, cheating, abuse, etc. The relationship was very toxic. My two past exes added my boyfriend into a group chat and they all talk bad about me. This is not the first time my boyfriend has talked bad about me with someone that dislikes me. Usually whenever he gets mad at me he becomes easily accessible to people that don't like me and they all talk bad about me. I found out and he told me a story about how my two exes were going around texting my friends, family spreading misinformation about me. This part of the story was true. And my boyfriend said he only stayed in the group chat to get information and tell me. A couple days go by and my two exes in the group chat send me evidence that all of them were talking about having one of them pick me up, drive me far away from my house, have their female friends jump me while they watched and recorded. I confronted my boyfriend and asked him why didn't he tell me this and he said, because I didn't want you to overreact. I immediately broke up with him because I could no longer trust him. He instantly started degrading me so I had to block him. A part of me misses him but I'm tired of feeling worthless and always having a partner that sides with anyone that dislikes me whenever he gets mad at me. What on earth? If this is real, no more relationships until you have a year of personal counseling to build up your self-worth to stop choosing absolute losers as boyfriends. We had major conflict in the relationship, cheating, abuse, etc. The relationship was very toxic. Sounds like you made good choices and should have ended things sooner. What exactly do you miss about that massive scumbag? Can't be how much he made you feel loved? You should absolutely go to therapy to identify and sort out what made your self-esteem so low you thought him being easily accessible to people who don't like you was anything less than a glaring red flag. Not to mention you obviously have some things to deal with that the abuse and cheating didn't make you do it before. Did you report this to the police? They still may do it. And you may consider a restraining order along with therapy so you learn to identify red flags and break up sooner. If you have multiple exes doing stuff like this, you need a break from dating to heal emotionally. You can develop PTSD from this, and work on your self-confidence and leave what healthy relationships do look like. Seek professional help before another relationship because 3/3 horrible BFS. Now I have met some horrible guys but y'all exes make them look like saints. This behavior is not normal at all, and is way deeper. They're trying to get you killed because being jumped can lead to death. Why do all these people know each other? Are you going from one guy to another in a large circle of friends? Stop having loser boyfriends. Stop dating. You need to get some help with your self-worth. If you can't afford therapy, at least get some self-help books. Normal people do not behave this way, they sound insufferable. My husband, 38M, is an anaconda at night. How do I, 37F, get it to stop? My husband and I have been married for 18 years and together for almost 22 years. As we have gone through our relationship, our sex life is not the same as it once was. My husband has expressed concern that we do not ever have sex but maybe once every 6 weeks. With that being said, I do believe that my husband wants some action. However, I do not have any libido due to all the health issues I am going with and have been facing the last 5 years. Anyways, I get really cold at night and will often find myself wanting to snuggle into his warm body. He definitely finds this as an opportunity to try to put on a move. A little bit of background here. I can easily fall asleep in less than 30 seconds, it doesn't take me long at all. For the longest time, my husband has acted like an anaconda when we cuddle. The annoying part is that he pretends to be unconscious during the whole thing. I will be mostly asleep and he will begin to squeeze my body with his whole body just like breath work. I can literally anticipate when the next large full body squeeze is coming based on the amount of time it's been since the last full body squeeze. This has definitely made it to where I don't even want to cuddle with him anymore. In fact, I tried to stay as far away from him as possible at night so that he doesn't feel me move because anytime he feels my body twitch or move he takes it as an invitation to put on the move. There are other times when our legs will be intertwined and I will begin to feel him press his legs together to put pressure on my leg that is inside his legs. This becomes extremely uncomfortable and I want to move my legs, and every time I have had enough of his anaconda squeezing I try to roll away from his grasp and he always wakes up in a huff, exclaiming, "What the F, oh my god, what is going on?" And it's always him mad at me for not accepting his advances, the vibes. It really gets under my skin because I know that he's not actually asleep and that he's squeezing the crap out of me to try to get a reaction for sex, but this is definitely not the way to go about it. I feel like I'm being tricked every time we cuddle because it always happens this way. I don't think there's ever been one single time in our relationship that I can remember that he has not done this to me. Either it's been that long since we've had sex or he's always been this silent sleeping, sex, anaconda. I'm just so tired of it in more ways than one, and even though I know that I can do a better job by having sex more frequently with my husband of 18 years, I just don't know how much is enough to keep him from squeezing me while I'm trying to sleep. There is nothing wrong with the sex, it's just not something I ever think about. I've tried explaining to him that with all the health stuff I have going on that I just feel like a sick little kid in need of some love and care and support, and sex never comes to mind when you feel like a lost, confused, and scared little kid. I didn't know this was a thing that happens. You don't have to have sex with someone to stop them becoming an anaconda. He's deliberately using his muscle to hurt you, disrupt your sleep, under the guise of cuddling. It's super shitty. You could tell him to stop it outright. If he keeps pretending he can't control it or it's happening while he's asleep, you could call his bluff by insisting he sees a doctor for his parasomnia, abnormal sleep behavior, and that you'll need to sleep in a separate locked bedroom until then. You don't owe him sex. Can you sleep separately? Tell him, I get hurt in our bed so I'll sleep somewhere else so I don't get hurt. Sexual coercion is a form of abuse. Him pressuring you, literally, is so gross. No wonder you don't want to have sex with him. If you've already talked to him about it and he's not stopped, your options are to sleep in a different area of the house, counseling, generally frowned upon when there is abuse, or reconsider being married to him. His behavior is not normal and you shouldn't need to tolerate it. This is borderline abusive. You've asked him to stop and he doesn't stop. He pretends he's unconscious when he's conscious and purposely doing what you don't want him to do. I'm sorry you are going through your medical issues, but I wouldn't downplay that his behavior is what is causing you to have no desire to have sex with him. You could suggest couples therapy, but I'd wager he's against that as he sees it as all a you problem. But try asking and see his response. He needs to hear from others that what he is doing is wrong. If you don't leave him, because there's something wrong with a man who behaves this way, at the very least you should have separate bedrooms. Get an electric blanket and sleep through the night for the first time in 18 years. My ex was like this. It got to the point where every time he so much as put an arm over me in bed, my anxiety would go through the roof. If I refused to move and acknowledge that he'd woken me up, he'd lie there and huff and puff like he was hard done by and keep me awake until I'd roll over and just let him do what he wanted to. At this point I am determined to never live with a man again. Fiance, 27M, expects me, 25F, to clean up after him, always. I want out. Me, 25F, and my fiance, M, 27, have been together for 7 years. We've had a rough year breaking off an engagement for something more serious, then getting back together after 2 months. Last night we got in another heated argument, likely ending our relationship for good. It all started because I asked him to help me with our, mostly his, laundry. I work full-time and up until 2 weeks ago I was also a student obtaining my bachelor's. I just graduated. I've always worked full-time, bringing in as of recently $19 an hour. I enjoy my job. I only started a few months ago in May and have greatly excelled. This does not matter to my fiancé. In his eyes my job is pointless and holds no real value because it's not the occupation or pay that my desired career would be. My fiancé does as of the last few years make good money due to poor spending behaviors, though I don't see a lick of it because he bought himself an expensive truck and spends money on online gaming, shopping, etc. He works a lot, and because he works more than me he believes I should do all housework, or at least far more than my half. I should do 70%. Well, I've been doing that for many years now. I put up his laundry, I put up my laundry, I do my dishes, I do his dishes. Somehow it's unfair in his eyes that I ask for help at all since he's working 10 hours a day. I could understand if I didn't have a job, or even just didn't do school. But I have for years and still manage to do almost all housework. I know that most people would agree that it isn't my responsibility to do this much effort with nothing in return. How on earth do I break up with him if we're in a lease together and I can't find a new place? Edit. Everyone, my lease ends in December. Since my job is leasing, thankfully I know a lot on what I will owe $2,500 for the full lease if I don't give notice 60 days before ending it. If I do, then probably close to $1,600. I'm planning to stay in the apartment whether he does or not. Since I'm leasing, I don't think it will be too hard for me to find a roommate if it ends up going that route. Work on finding a new place. Reach out to your family and see if you can move back home while you work to get back on your feet as an independent person. He sounds like a sexist prick. Yes, you should do a little more since he works a little longer, but it should be like 60/40ths, not 90/10ths. Can you even imagine adding children to the mix? Or how he would be once children arrive? You should absolutely leave. First of all, you can break a lease. Will it cost you? Yeah, maybe, but not as much as staying with this person will. Start by reaching out to your landlord and at least finding out what the process costs actually are. As far as finding somewhere else to go, there must be places where someone is looking for a roommate. Or, maybe your dipshit fiance leaves and you get a roommate at your current place until the lease is up. One more thing to add. Do not understand any circumstances let him get you pregnant. Immediately make an appointment with a Planned Parenthood clinic, your OB/GYN, or your regular doctor about some type of semi-permanent and mistake-proof birth control such as an intrauterine device or an arm implant. Something that you can't forget, screw up, or make mistakes using, something that no one can meddle with if they're trying to get you pregnant against your will. You do not have to tell your fiancé you are doing this if you don't want to. You simply stop doing his part of things. Don't wash his clothes, only cook for yourself, etc. Tell him you didn't sign on to be his maid or his mom and that it isn't an option for you to do all the household chores anymore, so you will not be doing any of his and he will have to fend for himself. Info. What's the more serious thing that was enough to break off the engagement? Your fiancé is already pretty horrible given how he treats you chores and how he devalues your achievements, job. But I have a feeling whatever broke off the engagement will make him an even bigger asshole.